In today's video, we're going to discuss getting the most out of your golf swing. Do I need to change my method, or can I just make some little tweaks to get the most out of my game? Make sure you check this video out. Welcome back to the TruGolf Academy. You join me, Jon Watts, today at Branston Golf and Country Club. As I mentioned there in the intro, today we're going to be discussing, do we actually need to rip apart our technique, change it, or can we just make some tweaks to get the most out of our golf swing? We're going to be talking about something that golf coaches call matchups, okay? So that is, not everything has to be textbook. We're trying to get things to work together. And I read a book, and I've unfortunately forgotten who wrote it, and it was from a coach who's very much inspired and led by John Jacobs' style of coaching. And he was talking about the positives and negatives in golf. And it wasn't what's right and what's wrong, it's just literally a plus or a minus. So don't think a minus is something wrong, it's just a minus compared to a plus. So a plus, for instance, would be a strong grip. So for me as a right-handed golfer, a strong grip with my lead hand would be seeing more knuckles, 3-4 knuckles on my lead wrist here, my left wrist. A weak grip would be the thumb more down the center and I can only see one. So positive would be a strong grip, a negative would be a weak grip. A positive would be a wrist position where it's more bowed at the top of the golf swing. We'll call it inflection because that causes the club face to be more closed. That is a positive. A negative would be an open club face with more of a cupped wrist or the wrist in extension. It's about getting these things working together. The release movement through the golf ball, a very passive hands release here where we're feeling like it's more with the body, is going to be more of a negative. A positive would be quite an aggressive movement through the golf ball with a little bit more club face closure. So it's trying to get those matchups so we're actually coming down to neutral, zero, rather than having lots of pluses. What we can't have is a couple of pluses with no minuses effectively to weigh them out. And this is all about matchups. So we can't have a strong grip, a bowed wrist, and aggressive release through the ball because everything's going to go miles left of target. We can't have a weak grip, a cupped wrist at the top, and a very passive body release through impact because the ball's going to go way right. So it's trying to look and observe the ball flight for first of all. What's the ball flight telling you? Where does the ball start? Where does it finish? How much is it curving? That really starts to tell you what's happening. Obviously, you need to be able to know that you're hitting out of the center. So when you're observing the ball flight, really go for the ones that feel a relatively centered strike. If you can measure it just with some face tape on, great. That's a well worth thing doing, or some spray on the face, just to look at strike location first of all. But it's matching up. I often get, when I see someone who's struggling with their game, they say, I feel like I need to go back to basics, start with me from fresh. And when that golfer's played for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it might be, you can't really rip them apart and start from fresh. You just won't be able to do that. So you've really got to look at what the ball flight's telling you. Is there a common miss? Is there a particular fault they've got? Could we make some changes to actually start to control this club face? Because a key part is hitting the ball out the middle and squaring the face. If we can really get those couple of parts working well together, then we're going to be hitting good golf shots. So, if you have got a stronger grip, it might be that you need actually more of a cupped wrist at the top to neutralize the club face, or it might be that with your strong grip we actually feel like it is less active with our hands, more body rotation through impact to help keep the club face from shutting down too quickly, the rate of closure. If you're someone who's got a weaker grip, it might just be that we need to feel like we bow the wrist a little bit more at the top of the golf swing, feel like it's more inflection to actually strengthen that club face. Or it might be that we need a little bit more of an aggressive movement, a little bit more club face closure through impact. So it's not all about getting textbook movements, it's about getting the right movement for you. Okay, so this is where video is going to help, and this is where observing your ball flight, if you can get some launch monitor data, obviously going to help. Now I actually have a slightly strong lead hand, left hand grip. Now I have that for a reason that I broke my left arm as a kid. I cannot rotate my arm to flat. I can't get my hand to flat this way, okay? So I cannot create as much rotation here through impact. So I need a slightly stronger grip because I'm not going to be able to rotate my arms quite as quickly, quite as aggressively through impact. So it's about getting matchups, and I think my grip got stronger instinctively, probably just from observing the ball flight. So I've got a slightly stronger grip. I've got a pretty neutral lead wrist at the top. If anything, the club face is a little bit closed, but I know that pre-impact is not. My poor one is probably the face being open and the bad one starting too far right, so the strong grip isn't a bad thing for me. Okay, I don't miss too much left of target. My weaker one's probably a little bit of a push cut. So, you know, would you change my left-hand grip? Well, if you did, if you improve my left-hand grip to look more neutral, I'm going to hit the ball further right to target. Who's that going to help? Don't think about ripping your game apart, just think about getting what's right for you. As I said, getting those matchups in place. So, you know, as I said, if we've got a stronger grip position, it might be that we end up with more of a cupped wrist, or it might be that we feel like we've got more of a body release through the ball. Look at where your ball's going, look at what it's telling you. Let me just go ahead and hit some, and you will see that I've got a slightly stronger left-hand grip, so I can see a good 3 knuckles here, but it really helps me. I almost have to try and feel like I keep that club face that little bit shut going back. Down the target line like that, and this is true iron or driver. You know, so I'm not telling you, I don't know your golf swing without seeing it. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just telling you to observe the ball flight and look at trying to get these matchups in place. We can't have strong, 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 we can't have weak, 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 so we've got to try and get the things working together and look at the ball flight, where you're missing it, keep some stats about you where you're missing it. It's really going to help you understand what's right in your golf swing. Let me hit one more. Oh, I wish I didn't hit the second one. I hit the first one straight down the fairway. Second one just blocked it right. I can't finish on that one. And again, you'll see why it was going to draw back, but just caught some of those leaves up there on the tree that's overhanging on the right side of the tee box, but definitely started right to target. So I need that slightly stronger grip. I need that feeling of a slightly more closed club face, because I cannot release the golf club quite as aggressively through impact. Let me give it one more. There we go. That's more like it, down my fairway line. So matchups, you know, it can sound confusing, but once you start to understand that we can't have, as I said, strong grip, a bowed wrist and an aggressive release through the ball because everything's going to go left to target. We need to look at what the club face tells us, and that really starts to tell us, do you need to make swing changes, or can it just be little tweaks here and there that can really start to improve your golf swing? Make sure you share this with as many golfers as you can. Obviously, it's well worth seeking PGA advice. Online lessons are available if you're struggling with it. I do a lot, send some videos across. It can be really helpful to your game to understand or have a second set of eyes looking at your golf swing. If you have enjoyed the content, if it does help you, hit the thumbs up, share with as many golfers as you can, and consider subscribing.